Okay, now let's go to YouTube and switch it so I can see. Hopefully this works. Okay, I'm in. Where is, oh, come on, don't. No buffering. Okay, you in the stream, Gil? I'm trying to add. There we go. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear.
Wonderful.
Hey, Elace.
Ewace Mike's great to see you, buddy.
I was trying to look on this on the YouTube, but it was too difficult to do it on the YouTube.
StreamYards is super easy.
Yeah.
Air 5. Eileen, look what I got today.
Oh, you're going to have so much fun.
Uh-huh.
You got the honey. You got all that honey you need and milk.
I got honey, and I don't have any milk in the house right now, but I will be making a run before we live stream tomorrow afternoon. Huh. Tomorrow is the Ring of Fire. Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I'm glad it's you guys and not me.
Well, you'll be living vicariously through us throughout the night, hopefully.
Yeah, I'll be able to laugh.
Yeah, you'll be exactly. Yeah, you'll be there laughing your butt off, and I can't really say I blame you. I'm laughing now thinking about it, but in truth, I'm kind of terrified.
You got voluntold, not volunteered. You got voluntold.
That's all good. I mean, it's just a piece of chocolate in the end. And Stein North did it, and he muscled through it, and he was strong about it. So,
welcome, Rick Thomas.
It's Rick Thomas. How you doing, buddy? Hope you're having a great evening.
I'm just gonna give it a chance to see if we can get a couple more people in here before we start.
Yeah, bring them on in, peeps. Share this out. Throw some likes in there. Booyakasha, booyakasha.
And I gotta turn my light on, so excuse me for a moment. There.
Gil, I've been looking at it all week. Petrified is an understatement. I can't say I blame you. I mean, there's a lot of pepper flake on that.
Yes, if you look closely when Sty was doing it, there was a lot. And he says when you crush up the pepper flakes, that's when it gets the worst. That's why he says chew it, don't suck it, because that will take the fun out of it.
Yeah, R5 volunteered for the toe of Satan, which is a lollipop, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh
It's a super hot lollipop.
no, Crystal! I've seen so many people do that one and end up in the hospital after.
Just remember, we got to stay healthy to maintain our YouTube channels afterwards.
Yeah, and doing all of the
That's one heck of a way to lose weight, though. I'll tell you what.
Well, the good thing is Sty, even after eating that whole candy bar, he didn't have no downward effects afterwards. So that was a good thing.
Yeah. You got to prep for, that by, putting something in your stomach beforehand.
Yeah.
Something that's going to be absorbent, like bread or something.
Yep. He had a tortilla, just a regular tortilla, 45 minutes before we started.
You're probably right, Rick Thomas. I'm not going to lie. At least on my stream.
Well, you don't have to eat peppers to sweat here in Texas.
He craved it the next day, he said. It is hot, but tastes good. Yeah, I mean, supposedly there's an excellent flavor profile on this. I've been reading reviews on it, and it's not so hot that it'll take your face off, which is also nice.
Yeah, as long as you prep properly for it and you pay attention to what you should eat first, and while you're doing it, you should be okay. He said the worst part is when he ate them 6 in a row.
I would imagine eating them in succession like that, rapid succession. I'm going to leave it up to the audience. I'm going to leave it up to the audience as far as what the viewers want me to do with it. Oh man, you got notes?
Yes, because I'm not really good at interviews. I kind of stumble.
You're going to do just fine. I wouldn't have agreed to this if I didn't think you were totally on the level. Terry C. Much love to you. I hope you're doing okay, Terry C. Much love.
All right, where is it?
Angel Munez, great to see you, bud. Oh, geez, are you okay over there?
Oh yeah, I just had to stretch to put the other notebooks back.
Ah.
I got what you need for your desk, Gil.
You get the what?
What you need for your desk for work. It's a punching bag that sucks to your desk, so you can sit there when you get stressed and hit it.
That would be awesome. That, and I'd like to put like stress balls strategically all over my desk. So depending on what's going on, I'd be like, grab one, and I'd be like,
Yep. They do help relieve a lot of the stress.
oh, I'm glad you're hanging in there, Terry. I'm glad you're hanging in there. We're all here for you too. I hope you know that. Murad Haunted Adventures, it's great to see you. Welcome.
Hey, Murad. Hey, Terry C. Huntress of the Unknown.
Huntress
Hey,
of the Unknown.
Angel. I think I got everybody. Okay, I guess we should get ready to start because it is almost 7.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay, everybody, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, which is Gil Skillz. And in this interview, we are going to be going over anxiety and what it's like living with having anxiety disorder. So yeah, when were you diagnosed with anxiety disorder?
Oh gosh. I was in my late 20s when I was diagnosed with it. But I knew there was an issue way before then. When I was growing up, when I was in grade school, to probably first or second grade, they found out that I ended up having a learning disability, which in retrospect could have been many other things. They may have misdiagnosed, but it led to a degree of anxiety issues, which made me socially awkward and picked on when I was a kid, which probably led into my adulthood anxiety, but late 20s, sorry.
Yeah, in studying the different mental illnesses, it kind of helped me to realize that everything is not so generalized.
Yeah.
For our viewers that may not know, there's more than one type of anxiety disorder. There is a social anxiety disorder where people are afraid to make friends or communicate, person to person. And then there's a generalized anxiety disorder, which is what most people suffer from.
Yeah. I was a very hyper kid. I was a very hyper kid, so I never really fit in with any of the cliques growing up, even into high school. I just never really fit in with much of anybody. I had a few friends, but nothing significant. I wasn't one of those popular kids at school, that's for sure.
I've been down that road. I guess I've just been pretty blessed because with everything I went through, with my eyesight, I had a learning disability. I was never liked. I was pretty much a loner because of my eyesight. Always got picked on. But I guess, my family support was strong enough to cushion a lot of the anxiety from it.
It's definitely needed. I mean, when you deal with an issue like that, and like the learning disability, that in itself brings a great deal of anxiety, because when I was growing up, I wasn't learning at the same level and at the same pace as my peers, and I actually had stayed back in the third grade because of that. So throughout my entire grade school career, it was extremely difficult, and it was extremely anxious. I was anxious pretty much the whole time, just to try to keep pace. I have to learn my own way. I'm a visual learner.
Yeah.
And of course, you get different teachers, you have different teachers with different styles, and they try to cater as best they can, but nobody is going to be necessarily a glove fit to teach you the way you truly need to be taught. It's I don't know. It's difficult for me to articulate, so I appreciate you bearing with me.
I understand, and it's not always easy to talk about yourself. I've had a lot of people um, that wanted me to kind of do my life history type in stories, and it's like I don't know if I'm comfortable enough to go that deep
Yeah.
with my personal life. Because where started wearing glasses like when I was 2, it affected a lot of areas of my life. Even in school, I was the same way you were. I couldn't learn at the same level. I remember in school, I had to be part of the IGE program. You probably remember that.
Hmm.
The individual guidance education. I was a member. I was into that, and then when I got into like high school, it went to they didn't have that no more. I just had to go and work with the guidance counselor.
And
But
that's pretty
I
much what I
think,
ended up doing too, is I had to, speak with the guidance counselor privately. I'd have days when it would just be too much between my peers and between the teacher just not clicking with me. Like they try to explain it,
mhm,
but I wouldn't get it. I'd need that special attention. And I'd be like, I need, I was excused from class more often than not to go speak to my guidance counselor and just learn one-on-one.
yes, and it's much easier because it relieves that pressure.
Yeah.
Because I remember, like in elementary, just with myself going up and having to do the school work from the blackboard, which I'm sure you remember the lovely blackboards we had.
Oh, yes.
Although I was sitting in the front row seat, I still, my eyes were that bad at a young age where I could not read the blackboard. I would have to get up, stand in front of the blackboard, and write all my notes down. And you want to talk about a class full of angry people.
Yeah.
They, they wanted to continue and go home at their time, and because of me, it was later. But my teacher at that time was real good until they put me into IGE, where then the teachers were specialized to work with special needs.
Yeah. Back
So
then, it
everything
was a
we did
different
was
it
on a
it
good
was a
pace.
totally
Yeah.
different animal compared to the way it is today. That's for sure.
Oh God. I remember my neighbor's friend asked me to help her with some math work before we moved here to Texas. It's like, sure, I don't mind. I looked at her math book and I said, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And she said, why? I said, I have no clue at what this is because they teach what we learned in college. You
Yeah.
know, we didn't start learning algebra until like pre college. Now they're teaching Celsius in junior high. And it's like, geez, how are parents supposed to help with this? You
It-
know?
exactly. I mean, even now, me and my wife struggle to help, our son and daughter, and mostly my son, because he has a learning disability as well, and that brings me to the next subject, is that it's you inherit it. You almost inherit it. My grandfather had it. My grandfather had huge anxiety issues. My father has it, and I have it. And someone asked in the chat about trembling. I do have a natural tremor.
Yes, trembling is a common symptom of anxiety disorder. Also, one of my questions I wanted to ask you is I know you suffer from migraines. Now, did your anxiety cause the migraines or is it vice versa?
There's different types of triggers for my migraines. Sometimes it can be stress induced. I mean, it really depends. Like if I'm having a bad work day, if I get a lot on my mind and I get stressed out, I'll start noticing. I lose eyesight in my right eye. I'll start losing partial eyesight. Um, but it's also, I've come to learn through life experiences that it's not just that. It's life choices, it's health choices. Like, for example, if you're not hydrating yourself well enough, you're not drinking enough water. I'm guilty of that because I don't like drinking water. I drink this stuff. And I joke saying water is the first ingredient, but it's no, it's, I need, those sort of
I
life
agree.
choices contribute to those migraines at least half the time, I'm going to have to say.
hmm Another question is, would you mind kind of letting everybody know what some of the symptoms that you suffer from your anxiety are, besides the trembling and the migraines?
When I start getting anxious, like I take a medication for my anxiety. It's basically the generic version of Zoloft. It's called sertraline, 100 milligrams a day. And I take a secondary medication called propranolol. I think that's how you pronounce it. And that's a beta blocker for the migraines. But if I don't take that, if I stop taking my medication within a couple of days, I start feeling a constant jitteriness. It's like constant. I feel jittery. My senses are heightened to the point where any sort of stimulus could potentially set me off. Like, my wife asking me a simple question. I mean, I could potentially snap. I mean, not because I'm evil, but because there's an overstimulus there. But that's pretty much it. And then at times if I'm having a bad day or if I'm anxious about something, it could lead into a panic attack, or I feel like I'm all closed in. I'm stuck in neutral. I can't do anything. I have a hard time breathing. You get this.
Almost like you were having a heart attack.
Yeah, exactly. You feel this sense of impending doom, and it spirals you into it's like hand in hand almost. It spirals you into this depression. And for me, that depression can last days, if not weeks.
Exactly. And, a lot of people, unfortunately, don't know everything about anxiety because, the way society's programmed people is to judge by what they see, which is why, like, I try to teach everybody, don't believe what your eyes see, go deeper.
Yeah.
Learn to know that person because your eyes can lie to you. What they see may not be the actual what the problem is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I try to. It's a good analogy to use, Eileen, because I mean, there are people that may have had a really stressful day and that are anxious. If life circumstances, like if you had a family member pass away or something like that happen, you just never know. So if somebody's cranky or if they lash out at you, try not to be overly judgmental on that person, because it might be in the day. It might be that circumstances that drove them to that. That moment doesn't necessarily define them as a person. And it works the same way with someone with anxiety and depression. And I hope all that made sense.
Yes, to me it does. Um, Another question I'd like to ask is, when you do have an anxiety attack, can you kind of explain to people what it's like when you are in like a full blown anxiety attack?
When I'm in a panic attack or when I'm feeling anxiety?
When you're in a panic attack from the anxiety, when it gets to that point.
I at that point, I feel like I can't do anything. I feel like I'm not paralyzed, not mentally paralyzed, but I can't do anything, because at that point I feel like I'm going to fail at everything. If I talk
Mm-hmm.
to somebody, I'm going to talk to them the wrong way. If I do something on the computer, I'm going to mess it up. I get stuck in neutral, and I close in on myself, and I just sit there, and I have a hard time breathing. Like I said, I breathe heavy. It's
It makes you
It's like,
hyperventilate.
yeah, it's like feeling like you're stuck in neutral and you can't do anything without screwing it up. So you don't do anything. You just sit there and hyperventilate. There's more to it than that, but that's the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, the newest one I'm working on, like agoraphobia, a lot of people think that's just about people that don't leave their house, but they don't realize agoraphobia is basically just really severely advanced anxiety
Hmm.
because they didn't get it treated enough. They didn't, take care of it. So they get to that point, almost like what you said, where they're, withdraw into themselves because they're afraid of everything.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid to leave their house because they're afraid something's going to go wrong or something terrible is going to happen, you know. So people don't realize a lot of the other disorders stem around anxiety, and anxiety disorders is part of a lot of other mental disorders.
Yeah, it stems off and roots out like a tree. I mean, there's so many different facets. Looks like Gemma's trying to get our attention. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Gemma. Gemma, on this one, I'd rather have you not come up because this is an interview panel. But I will be interviewing you, trying to get with everybody, and I will, if you're up to it later, I will be doing an interview on autism, but I'm trying to go through the first all the way up.
Completely up to you, by the way, Eileen. I'm comfortable with it either way.
Well, it's not that I'm not comfortable. It's just that this was a scheduled interview, and just like a job interview, when you interview somebody, it's supposed to be just that person. It kind of makes it easier so it doesn't get sidetracked into something different.
So I got one question then. Did I get the job?
What? If you're all having anxiety disorder and the type of payment it brings, the more power to you.
Sorry.
The next thing I'd like to ask, if you could tell us what some of your triggers are for your anxiety, because I know different people have different triggers.
It's hard for me to say because like the older you get, the easier the way I feel, the older you get, the easier it is to get triggered. So, I mean, anything that could be stressful, anything that life could tend to throw at you, could trigger anxiety for me anyway. Like, for example, my wife, she was going to go shopping with my mother and the kids down in the Portland area, I believe, tomorrow. And she was going to take her car. Well, there's a slow leak on one of the tires, I discovered. So she can't do that. She can't take that car. My mother is going to take her car, but it's causing me stress. I'm like, where's that leak? Do I have to replace the tire? Is this going to cost me money? So that's stressing me out. And basically anyone that, like, if I'm having a conversation with someone and I'm doing everything within my power to explain myself, and I'm trying to explain something, every which way I can to try to reach that person, and they still don't get it, or they refuse to get it, that can definitely be a trigger. Trolls can be a trigger. We can talk a little shop there. I'm sure we could, Eileen. But basically,
Trolls are easy to take care of. But the other thing I completely understand, because it causes more stress on you when you try to explain something or you give suggestions or something, and it's just like you're talking to a wall. You just like,
yeah.
"Ah!"
Yeah, when you try to help someone and it falls on deaf ears, I think that's probably the biggest pet peeve and the biggest stress that I have, truthfully.
Yep.
But in terms of day-to-day life stresses and things like that, it's just things that tend to go wrong. You know what I mean? It, it my kids, as much as I love them to pieces,
They're teenagers, so
I
yes,
love
that's
my kids, but they're teenagers, and of course they're rebellious to a certain degree. They're probably one of the biggest stressors in my life, because as a parent, you need to give that tough love, but at the same time, you need to have that restraint,
mhm.
because they're just kids. You know what I mean? They're growing up. They're just kids. You need to be a father and a dad, if you know what I mean by that. There's a very big difference
Yeah.
between a father and a dad. And but yeah, they're a trigger.
Yeah. Now I know some people suffer for what they call summertime anxiety. I guess because of the change of season with the summer, the humidity and stuff. Do you suffer from that part as well?
I as far as the migraines grow, yes. Changes in the barometric pressure, sudden changes in temperature and stuff like that makes me susceptible to cluster headaches and migraines. But in terms of the anxiety and the depression, there I work at home, that.
Mm-hmm.
I work at home. There are days throughout the summer, like there are weeks on end when that it's super, super hot, 80 plus degrees, here in Maine. That's hot here, by the way, guys. That's hot. So
We
I stay.
have to come to Texas, Gil, where it's 100 somewhat.
I know. I must be like whining compared to what you guys have to deal with, but
No,
I feel myself confined to the inside when it's super hot out, and I do fall into a bit of a depression. And it's the same in the winter when it's super cold or there's storms going on and I have to stay inside for days on end. I do tend to fall into a depression.
Yeah, I think as far as the seasons, we all kind of go through that.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's hot or cold.
But someone that is susceptible to anxiety and depression, we're all susceptible to it. Don't get me wrong, but someone that is more acute with those things, that's probably the best way I could say that.
It's more intense.
It's amplified.
Because I know with my depression, sometimes the house being inside will feel like a prison to me. Where, it's so hot, but it's like I don't know what to do because it's so hot outside that just you'll sweat as soon as you walk out the door. I mean, where it's just dripping off you,
Yeah.
but the house just feels like you're in a prison cell.
Right.
And it's like you just don't have no way to go.
You mentioned a stressor too, like triggers for stress and anxiety. Money is another big one.
Yeah, I think that's a stressor for everybody.
Yeah, it's a universal thing. It really is. But we were talking about it, so
they say financial difficulties is the #1 cause for divorces in the United States. Financial pressure.
Well, that's one of the things that me and my wife did correctly. When we got married, we both agreed that we would keep our finances separate. We don't have a mutual joint checking account or anything like that. We have our responsibilities of what we pay month in and month out, and we do it through our own means. And we don't share anything. It's split right down the middle. And I think if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be together. I think that was a big piece of us staying together.
Nah, I think he loved you more than that.
Well, maybe
Love
that you.
conquer a lot of things.
Hey, I'm a big pain in the butt. I'll admit it. I'm not too
All men
proud.
are a big pain in the butt. I haven't met one man yet.
Oh, Eileen.
Men are just overgrown babies.
I can't overly disagree.
My late husband used to say, men are just big babies. That's why, like, when they have their bottles, like their soda or whatever, just stick a nipple on the bottle and they're happy. Now, how much of a big baby is that? Okay, Gil, what do you do to help combat your anxiety? What are some of the things that you have trained yourself and taught yourself to help relieve some of the anxiety when it hits?
I was wondering when you were going to ask that. Um, I talk to friends like you. That's one of the things, I talk to Gemma and you and Andrew from Pusha and Crystal and I have many other friends that I talk to that kind of bring me down from that anxiety high that I'm on, so to speak. Another thing that I love doing that is, I just mentioned it in my most recent video, is scrapping. I love scrapping because it's very therapeutic for me to sit there and take stuff apart and deconstruct everything. And, it definitely helps with anxiety. And I think lastly is filming, believe it or not, filming for my videos and editing. I love doing that sort of thing. But for any, that all aside, I find going for a ride or taking a walk to be very therapeutic as well. I try to reflect on the positives. When it gets to the point where I'm on the verge of a panic attack and my anxiety's high, I try to think of the positive things that I have in my life and let that be the foundation for recovering from that particular episode, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. And I know, Sky hasn't made an appearance yet, which is fine. But I do know because I have a dog also. And, when I was doing anxiety, I was trying to let people know that having a pet is wonderful for anxiety.
I did forget to mention Sky.
There's Sky care.
There she is.
But,
She helps out
if
quite a
you
bit too.
don't realize it, they're using more and more animals for more mental illnesses now. The hospitals are using them as therapy dogs for PTSD, anxiety disorders. They're not just for the physically disabled anymore. And it's because having a pet, it does something, it kind of releases that endorphins inside of you. They're like a sponge.
That they can sense when there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
They can sense when your mood has changed or something has stressed you out. They really can. And Sky, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And they do sense it. Their senses is 10 times better than ours. And, they just, when they sense it, they just come with all their love and they just be like, they're like a big sponge and just absorb that stress onto them.
Yeah.
You feel it leaving your body.
Yeah.
And that's why, I try to tell people, if you're in a situation where you can't own a pet and you have anxiety, volunteer at a animal shelter. Where you can help take care of the pet, bring it for a walk, and it will lift up, relieve some of that anxiety.
A friend, a neighbor, someone that has a good dog, go over and spend some time with that pet and the friend for that matter. But yeah, I mean, Eileen, you're absolutely right. One thing that I tend to do that I need to stop doing is if I feel an episode of anxiety or have a panic attack, I'll tend to go lay down and I'll sleep. And it's not really a good habit to get into.
Yeah, but that's part of the depression that the anxiety brings.
Right.
The depression will make you sleep.
Yeah. And that's what I've done quite a bit. When I have episodes of anxiety, depression, I end up sleeping. And when that happens, she'll come in and she'll hop up on the bed and she'll just lay her head on my chest, letting me know she's here. And I'll tell you what, knowing that your animal loves you unconditionally, will help big time.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the way we were meant to be as human beings, but unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way. People have been too judgmental on everybody, and
Yeah.
that's what seeing with your heart is learning to love somebody unconditionally. And when I say that, I don't mean it as a husband girlfriend type thing, but love them as a human being.
Yeah. I think growing up the way I have and knowing what I know now, I mean, I think that has turned me into the human being I am now in terms of how I look at people, how I talk to people, how I look at any given situation with anyone.
Yeah, that does, the way we gone through does help make us who we are.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of people, just like with my physical disability with my eyes, sit there and say, "Oh, I feel sorry for you." It's like, I don't want your pity. I don't want your sympathy. My eyesight to me is a gift, not a curse. I mean, there's certain things I hate about it, which I can't drive, you know, but it's taught me at an early stage how I should look at people, how to truly judge them from the heart.
Yeah.
So to me, that's a gift because a lot of people can't do that. They don't know how.
It's true. A lot of, and not everybody, but a lot of people tend to be superficial. And it's hard to break that chain. It's hard to break that people of that and look deeper. Are you okay?
Yeah, my throat's just dry.
Oh, well, take a moment and grab a sip of something. I'm going to grab a sip of something.
Yeah, you and your Pepsi. I wanted my root beer, but they didn't have none, so I had to get a Dr. Pepper.
Oh, I've got Coca-Cola if you want some.
No, I don't do Coke. Coke and Pepsi will eat your insides with all that acid in it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. The next question. If there was somebody in the audience, or if you was to talk to somebody that thinks they may have anxiety disorder, what would your advice to them be?
My advice is always you're never alone. There's always someone that is going through a similar situation as you. There's always someone that knows what you're going through and can relate. And I don't want to use the term misery loves company because that's not what I'm looking for. But what I mean is that you're not alone. So reach out to your friends, reach out to your family. Don't be an island, because that's what anxiety and depression does. Is it compels you to do that. You've got to resist and fight that urge, and let your friends know how you feel so that they can ultimately help you because they love you.
Excellent advice. Okay, the last question. What would be your advice to someone who is suffering from anxiety disorder right now? Somebody that has, or they know they have it, but they haven't gotten it treated.
I would recommend going to see your doctor or physician. That would be the first step. Just, to get yourself diagnosed. I mean, it may not necessarily be anxiety or depression. It could be something that is, it could be life related. But the first thing I'd do is go to your physician and get some sort of professional diagnosis. And that way they can begin the process to treat you either medically through them, or you could take advice through your physician to treat it naturally. But that would be the first step. And then the second step, like I said before, make sure that you keep in constant contact with your friends and family to let them know that you're doing okay. And don't be an island with your feelings. Reach out to your friends and family and let them know what's going on so that they can help you. If they don't know, they can't help you.
Yes, education is key to everyone involved because you're going to need that support. So I have to agree with you 100% there. Okay, well, that's all the questions I have, but I wanted to give the people in the chat a chance to ask questions if anybody has any. So if anybody has any questions for Gil, go ahead and ask. And welcome, Cal Williamson and Big Booms.
Cal Williamson, Big Booms. Good to see you. Terry C., I completely hear you because I rarely go out. And it's not because I don't want to go out. It's because I work at home. YouTube is a home. I live stream at home. I scrap at home. So every once in a while, get out, do something. Even if it's just to go for a walk in the mall. Just something to get you out of the house. I like to window shop, for tractors and four-wheelers and stuff like that. The boy toys.
Big Boom, you said you have a hard time sleeping because your brain shuts off. Can I give you a suggestion that might help? Because sometimes I go through that myself. If you have a notebook, what I would suggest, just a regular notebook. It doesn't have to be a big one like this. It could be a small one, but just get it like a small notebook. And before you decide to go to bed, write down whatever is on your mind, what you're thinking of. That's the way to empty your brain. And then when you go to sleep, some people have to have like the TV on. Me, I cannot sleep with the TV. It just keeps my attention too much, and I'm afraid to go to sleep because I'm afraid I'm going to miss something. So I myself listen to nature sounds because they're relaxing. And even when you go to a therapist, a lot of therapists, they have the little fountains. Yeah, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. That they say you can put by your nightstand with the sound of water.
Yep.
So nature sounds is a calming effect. If you have something that you can play some nature sounds on, that will also help. But try getting a notebook and emptying your mind a little bit before you go to sleep. And then when you go to sleep, put on some nature music, and you should be able to doze off better.
I agree. I think, like, for me, I need that white noise too. I have a jet. I mean, it almost seems like a jet powered fan, so it's pretty loud, but it's pretty powerful. But I need that white noise in order to sleep too. If that doesn't work, I like listening to an MP3 of like rainfall. Rainfall is a great. It's great to just listen to that, or like a what do they call it? Distant thunder.
Yep, a thunderstorm.
Listening to distant thunder. That all of that stuff is calming, and it helps ease your mind so that you can slip into that REM sleep. Yeah, Cal, I need that white noise because if it's quiet, I can't sleep.
It gets too quiet. I just toss and turn a lot.
Right. So
I
do
set my sleep timer with my rain sounds to like
I.
hours, and I normally fall asleep within them 3 hours. So
Yeah, I have to have good airflow and I have to have good white noise in order to sleep.
I can't sleep when it's hot. When it's hot, I'm no good.
Well, I really appreciate you having me on, Eileen. This was a lot of fun and very educational. And I think you did a great job as a
No,
host.
thank you. And sometimes big booms, doctors always like prescribing medications, but sometimes there's some things we can do without the medications, but
Mhm.
you have to train your body to do it. It's not going to come naturally. That's why I said get yourself in a routine of writing whatever's on your mind before you go to bed. Empty your mind out onto the paper.
It
And
boils down
then,
to willpower too. I mean, you have
yeah,
to be consistent and you have to be willing to follow through with it.
because a lot of times, medicines are good and they're good if you have to take it. But if you can train yourself like for something like that and find some other natural ways, that's okay, like a nice warm bath, writing your notes down, that would be even better.
How's it going, Ralph?
Hello, Ralph. Welcome.
Great to see you, my friend. Ralph let
So,
the cat out of the bag with my birthday present today. Just saying.
when's your birthday?
The 20th. Well, it's not until next month. It's the 23rd of September.
Hmm. Well, I will have to get somebody a birthday gift.
You know what else is good for sleeping, guys? Just before you go to bed, take your shower, take your bath. That's the
Yes, that's what I do because the bath just relaxes all your muscles.
yeah, it
I take
eases
a bath as hot
exactly.
as I can take it. If
I
it
used to
didn't
be a
get hot,
morning person to shower and stuff. Not anymore. I do it at night now.
I love my baths and I just lie there until it's like, ah.
Yeah, it's a good idea, Big Boons. I mean, she's
Big
absolutely
room,
right.
I have notebooks and I don't have that problem every night, but when I do have that problem at night, I just get up, grab the notebook, and start writing down what my mind is thinking. And it's like, okay, mine's now empty, it's now on paper. And then I just go and listen to my music and crash.
Yeah, because I mean, just
What
realize
does
we're
help?
gonna be there waiting for you when you wake up anyway. So you might as well get a
Yeah,
good night's rest.
the thoughts, you save them there. And that, because we all go through that sometimes because the brain doesn't want to shut off. It just wants to keep thinking. So you can't sleep.
Kel Williams says, I get a bar of lavender soap. I tried it, and no kidding, I was passed out in the tub. I had to get out of there.
Oh, lavender soap, yeah, a tub with lavender is very relaxing. Even chamomile. If you like chamomile, get a chamomile bath. Um, Big Boone, you said you like baths? Try Calgon. Chamomile, lavender, those natural scents that's supposed to be.
Let Calgon take you away.
It says, oh,
What's the matter?
Gil, my screen is black.
Oh,
There we go.
we're still here, and God the Good One just showed up.
Hey, God, the good one, how are you?
Mega respect, love, thumbs up, and a high five. Great to see you, buddy.
So if anybody has any other questions to Gil, this is the time. Please feel free to ask him.
Likewise. I almost, God the good one, I almost clicked on that StreamYards and came up with you today, but I was working. Had I not been working, I would have joined you, man. We don't get too many opportunities to get up on a panel with God.
No, that's for sure. But I love God the good one.
Me too. He's an awesome fellow. He really is. Okay,
I try to make all his streams. Yeah, Big Bones. If you're having any type of physical problem, Epsom salt is good. But for something to help you to relax, to empty your mind, you don't really want like an Epsom salt. You want something like that has a sense in it, like the lavender Calgon or the Vaseline bath beads, something like that that will help relax you.
Cal Williamson. I used to curse Calgon when my kids were little. He didn't take me anywhere. I'm gonna behave. This is not my stream.
Oh, you can have fun. The interview is over. This is the as Maniac Variety says. This is the end.
Diana SFNG, welcome.
Hello, Diana SFNG. Excuse me, I'm burping from the soda. I seen her earlier, but while we were doing the interview, I couldn't get to her.
Oh, Diana's been here the whole time?
Well, I don't know if she was here the whole time, but she was here earlier. She might have left and come back in.
Oh. Well, I'm sorry I didn't see you there, Diana. I've been here for an hour just about. Oh, I'm so sorry. Would it make you feel better if I told you I was going to eat an extremely hot chocolate bar tomorrow night and you could watch and laugh at me while I do it?
Oh, in case you guys don't know, that is hot. Welcome, Help Animals Live. How are you? Welcome. You missed the interview, but you're glad to rewatch it from the beginning. Hello, Heaven's Gates Cherry Farm.
Heaven's Gates Cherry Farm. It is always good to see you. I hope you're having a great night. Yes, please. It's gonna happen. R5 Adventures is going to start her live stream tomorrow at 4 p.m. if I'm not mistaken, Eastern Standard Time. And she's going to go until about 5:30, and then I'm going to go from 5:30 till about 7. And she's going to have hers on her stream. I'm going to have mine on my stream, but we're both going to co-host each other's. Yo-yos.
That's that's not good, Big Booms. I know about that.
Meet the ball. Oh, there we go.
Are you all psyched out for tomorrow night, Gil? You want to talk about anxiety? Your anxiety about this chocolate bar probably got to be getting to a height.
I'm really not that bad, to be honest with you. I mean, when I'm eating it'll be a different story.
Yep. The good thing is you get to eat it second. R5 gets to go first.
Well, in a way, she's kind of got it lucky, because I get to sit there and anticipate the whole time. I can watch her go through what she's going to go through, and I'll be like, oh man, oh man, oh man.
Yeah, but see, she doesn't like honey. She doesn't like milk. So the things that help are the things she doesn't like. So yeah, it could affect her a lot worse than it affects you.
I guess we're just going to have to see, guys.
But I will tell you, it will catch up to you.
Oh, I have no doubt about that. None. But I will prep. I'll eat and I'll prep. And even after I eat that, I will coat my insides with either, some of that pink stuff or, maybe more bread or something. Milk.
Pepto all time.
Pepto-Bismol. Hey.
Yeah, even here in Texas, because it's military and Mexicans mainly here. So there's a lot of hot stuff. Even the Mexicans that were born and raised here on the hot stuff say it catches up to them later from
Hot
eating
stuff.
all that.
I mean, they're the thrill seekers, the people that eat the insanely hot foods. I mean, yes, that'll definitely catch up to you in time. But eating spicy foods in moderation is actually healthy.
Thank you, Ralph, for it.
You're amazing, Ralph. Thank you.
I'm in here, so I can't see who. I think Ralph is one of my mods, so.
Yeah, he's blue.
That's the only bad thing about StreamYard is it doesn't show who your mods are.
Ralph is blue. A blue mod for Eileen. All right, I'm going to stop now. Eileen's laughing her butt off on camera. What I found out, there's a blood type diet. I didn't know some things are not good to eat depending on your blood type.
Wow, that's even new to me.
I didn't know that either, to be perfectly honest with you.
I know, like my youngest son has to be. I think he said they have him like on 13 different diets, and it's like, how can you be on 13 different diets? Because if you try to do this, it's going to interfere with that diet. Because he was born with the kidney disease in the very beginning, and now he's gone to the point where he's going to have to be on dialysis. But he also has autism and a couple of other things. For all I know, he could be having what what Crystal's son has, because my son didn't learn to speak until he was like 6. He couldn't do nothing until he was like 6 years old. Yeah. And he's got medical problems with it. So.
Yes, sir.
We've been on for how long? This does not show how long we've been on. Yes, we do. A little over an hour.
A little over an hour and 3 minutes.
And I don't think Gemma's in the room anymore.
Gemma, are you still here, Gemma? Gemma.
If she was still in the room, I was going to let her come up now if the interview was done.
Yo.
But I think she left.
Yeah, I think she did too.
I will be doing an interview with her later. I have trying to get in touch with Mama Q to do an interview with her for her PTSD. But she hasn't gotten back with me yet, so.
I really like the forethought that you put into this. I mean, you had a bunch of really relevant questions, and they were in succession in terms of, what anxiety is, what happens to you, how it affects you, how you react to it, what you do about it. I loved it.
Well, I wanted to, when I did it, I figured, okay, these interviews need to be based on like what my series is on anxiety. But I wanted people to hear from somebody that lives with it.
Mm.
So they know, okay, this is how it affects my everyday life.
Yeah.
This is some of the things that can happen. So, because this is not going to go in my regular live streams, it's going to go in with my other one. The chat will probably be disabled on it at that point. Um, but I wanted people to get the perspective of these different mental disabilities from people that have to live with them.
Right. Ganna.
Hey, Dana. All right, guys, if somebody wants to come up on the stream, I am going to post the link in here just a moment.
Yeah, I'll hang out for another half an hour or so. And then I've got some scrapping to do. Oh, and I got to check out my wife's tire too.
Oh, that sounds like lots of fun.
Kind of anxious about it.
Okay, come on now.
A good sense of humor also helps.
Yes, it does.
It's a good coping mechanism.
Well, they say laughter is the best medicine.
I believe that to this day.
Welcome, Gina. How are you? If anybody would like to come on for a while.
Come on, come join us. Come join us. Come on. Sorry, I'm just taunting the crowd a little bit.
Ralph wants to come up. All right, let's add Ralph to the room. Mr. Ralph Moore.
Hello.
What's up?
Let me move some stuff around here first, because
Let me figure out how to do this here, because I don't like this setup, so.
Great
mute
to see
this
you,
because now I have a whole lot of sound everywhere.
There we go. That's better.
I actually just came on to be able to wave hello at Ghana. Hello. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, she's awesome.
I agree.
Yeah.
Man, this bug is gonna
Yes,
get
Gina is very sweet.
I've gotten a pet for that. I call him Chuck. He's my Venus flytrap, and he gets rid of all my flies.
Really? Does it work well?
Well, they emit some kind of, I don't know, I would kind of say like pheromones or whatever, or like a certain smell, and the flies will get attracted to that. And sometimes all of a sudden I see one of those things close. Yeah.
But do you see less flies?
I have some mosquitoes in here sometimes, but flies not so much. In my kitchen, I sometimes have more, and then I place them in the kitchen for a couple of days, and then I see that the traps are closed, and then he's got a few flies. So it does work.
You're right, Big Bones. It can be used as an air compressor or a vacuum chamber. It is true. Very true. Talking about fridge compressors.
Well, R5, you need to get on your PC fast.
The chocolate is making you anxious. No, actually, I'm kind of relieved. I'm kind of relieved because it's here. You know, I was kind of worried that it wouldn't make it in time. But yeah, I'm ready for the challenge.
Yeah, Diana, this one actually doesn't digest the whole insect. It just digests the insides, and it kind of spits out the dried up insect, which is all flat by the end. So it doesn't really disappear. It just ends up in the soil.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that they would dissolve the whole thing at some point, but I think it's still quite young and small. So maybe later it will do the whole dissolving. But I noticed that at some point the traps opened up again, and a completely flat and dry sliver of a bug just fell out, kind of.
Huh.
Yeah. I'm gonna set
Those
Tony's reviews
sort of
a
plants
little lower.
give me nightmares if I had one sitting next to me.
Well, yeah.
Talk about anxiety.
I live alone for many years now. I did have relationships, but never actually lived together. Well, for a short time, but that doesn't really count. But I got hassled. Why don't you get a pet? Why doesn't this place have any plants? Liven up the place. So I did a combination. I got a green pet. Yeah.
The pet and the plant all in
Not
one.
a vegetarian.
Yeah, and I've actually filmed a couple of feedings that I captured a bug with like little pliers and just put that in, and then you see the trap close. And maybe I'll turn that into a separate playlist on my channel, The Life of Chuck or something.
Oh, you should do that. I'd watch it.
Yeah, but just a couple of short clips.
Do an entire stream where that thing is like the star. Just like have 2 or 3 bugs flying around.
Yeah, just do an interview with him. So, Chuck, what's for dinner?
So what's up, Chuck? Oh,
Up, Chuck. So, how are you doing today? It's a kind of a one-sided conversation.
You're a little tight-lipped, aren't you, there, buddy?
Yeah. If he starts talking back, that's the moment you start to worry.
Exactly. Holy moly.
Yeah. Time lapse of the eating. Yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah. Why the heck?
To do an interview.
Too bad it
you'll
cannot
have to
answer
learn
your
to
phone
be a-
calls or wash your dishes or do your laundry. Yeah, that's true. I need some feed him some toxic waste. I've seen that happen in movies, and that apparently works.
Yeah, in movies, anything works.
Yeah.
Well, the plant breaks out into song too. If like you if you're thinking of a specific movie.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Thank you. Little Shop
Yeah.
of Horrors.
When Chuck is fully grown, that thing will look like weeds compared to Chuck.
Uh-huh.
Feed me.
Just remember what happened on that one. When he didn't get fed, he ate its owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like a snake big enough to eat me. I'd never own that.
That would be like anaconda or
Anaconda.
a large python.
Jennifer Lopez was in the movie Anaconda.
I wouldn't own a snake no matter what because they are too much of escape artists.
Yes. Some of them
You
are.
can have them with the cover on and they can slither out of there and you wake up to a snake on your chest. No, thank you.
Or up to your chest.
Yes. Or around trying to make
all of a sudden you've got a sleeping bag that you did not intend to have.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have a zipper though.
Oh.
No, it doesn't need a zipper. It just gets a better than Velcro clothes called the mouth.
No. Good. Gannis handed out coffee. I'll take one. Thank you, Gannis.
Well, it's 2 a.m. over here, so coffee. Meh. I mean,
moly.
I'm on cola, so yeah.
Yeah, I still get.
Well, what time do you go to bed?
I haven't gone to bed since I visited Romania in, I think it was 1743. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Ralph goes to sleep when the sun comes up.
I was going to
He's
say,
an
I've
owl.
seen you on lives like at all hours.
Yeah.
He goes to sleep when the sun comes up over there. He's an owl. He's just an owl in disguise.
I'm Batman.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
I live at night.
He
Let me throw a
played
batarang in
with-
your face.
Oh man.
Yeah, they
gotta get
all
that
got
software.
that.
Everybody has this now.
I know.
It's a download.
Bing.
So what is it? Just a version
Gil,
of Snapchat?
Yeah, it's called Snap Camera. It's free. It has a gazillion of these weird faces in it. There's all kinds of weird crap in there, and
it frees it up
everybody
like
starts
crazy.
using it right now. There's a couple of really funny ones and a couple of really good ones, but there's a lot of. I was on panel with Prev, and there were only 2 windows, and I was wearing this. Wait, I double clicked it.
Look how real that looks.
Mm-hmm. It looks like his regular face. That
Yeah,
one looks
well,
real
the face is the same.
Well, the face is real. It's just
the
that.
hat.
That looks real good.
There's a whole lot of silly stuff in there. I mean, Recycle Dude should get this. He doesn't have to physically change his
Oh
hat.
my
He just
gosh, yes. That would that would fit right up his alley with the
Yeah,
chick that he has. Heck yeah.
there's all kinds of weird stuff.
All right.
That's all the same
Yarr!
program that Premiere uses.
Yeah, Premier Hell. He uses the cat. This one. Meow.
Oh, he uses the cat. He uses once in a while. He'll use like the head of Satan on there.
Oh God.
Yeah, but some of them really sucks.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ralph just threw a zinger. Ralph just did a zinger.
Oh yeah, they have
really
the
sucks.
bacon.
If you
Well,
look
they got
if you look too long, your eyes are really gonna start to hurt, and stuff might happen.
They have the bacon. Yeah, that one's kind of gory. He
It's
did that
creepy.
to everybody on Maniac Stream. He's like, "Ow! I got a piece of metal in my eye." It went
Yeah.
like that, and it kept on, and everybody's like, "Woo!"
So is
Yeah.
there like a control panel that you click on to go back and forth?
It's basically you download the Snap Camera program, and that program hijacks your camera, and that the program becomes your camera. So within any Skype or StreamYard, whatever, when you select the camera, you don't select the camera, but you select Snap Camera, the program. But because that program already has hijacked your camera, you're using the filter. So whatever you click on there, you get an extra screen on there that will end up in your live feed.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if you're having a Skype call with your mom and you're gonna go, oh, my eyes hurt, and then you make it bleed, you can have a heart attack on the other side. Yeah.
Oh my God. I
Yeah.
can imagine.
It's fun. I'm just copying other people who do this, but I think Nerd of the North was the first one who I saw using that, and some of them are actually pretty cool. You know, I'm into video games and stuff,
First
and
one I've seen was there.
and this is quite fitting.
Oh,
Stuff
I
like that.
That is very fitting.
Is
Yeah,
four.
and Viking by day and at night. Wait, I did that wrong click. Viking by day and at night. Come on, Techno Viking.
Techno Viking. Booyakasha.
Yeah. Some have effects that change when you open your mouth. Do I have anything? This one,
Oh, yeah.
for instance, this is from PUBG. When you move your head up, the lid opens. When you move your head down, the lid closes. Stuff like that. Yeah. And some
They
are
got the
really
kids'
well made. Gil Skillz has just gotten it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's having fun.
You do have to probably exit StreamYard and then reopen it. Probably. I'm not sure if you can do it while on panel.
I don't know. I don't know if I can or not. Can you still hear me?
Yes, but
Okay.
I can hear
the
you.
camera is not set correctly because now your camera is not on. Snapchat is probably saying that it can't find the camera because it's being used by StreamYard.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay.
All right.
So Gil is gonna have some new toys for his new live stream.
Yep.
It does make your whole system somewhat laggy when you have this on.
Well, StreamYard is a little laggy too because
Well,
I try to
not
watch
compared to what did we use before, that ancient program that nobody uses.
Google Hangouts.
Hangouts, yes. Ancient history.
Yep.
And whenever I see Ghana, this happens. Funny, they actually have physics, so you can bump them.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you're just having too much fun with this program.
Yeah, it's. I've been finding more and more. There's so much stuff in there that the stuff you find interesting, it's handiest to just click them as favorites, so you have a smaller list to scroll through, and you don't have to go look for them. Was this in this category? Was this in that category? Or type it in. There's a whole lot of fun stuff in there.
Yeah, Mike likes the ones that look like friggin' trolls.
Yeah, Mountain Bushcraft Alliance, MBA.
Yeah.
Most people know him. Yeah, all I need is a guitar, and then I can.
And then hold on a minute. Okay, let's add him back to the stream.
Yeah, I think I gotta either power off my computer or what have you to get it to work.
Oh, no, probably not. It's. I didn't have to either. It's usually a setting of the correct device. Figure it out when you have more time, and you can have some fun with it the next stream.
For sure.
Yeah. All I need is a guitar. I could be MBA. Well, I'm not that good at playing.
That's a nice beard. That's a nice, on-demand beard for you there, buddy.
Yeah, because I recently shaved, so I was on panel with Hunting and Stuff with J&J, Maniac Variety, E-Waste Mike, Mess Hall. Yeah, and they all have beards except me, so I had to put that up. Otherwise, I'd feel left out. Oh.
Darn it. I will figure it out. I'll get it.
Yeah, it's not that. Once you figured it out, it's actually quite cool. What does this do? Oh, dang. No.
Ooh.
This is broken, I think.
That looked like an 8-bit video game.
Yeah, it was actually Legend of Zelda. I was thinking of putting something in because I have showed this a couple of times before. I tend to turn every time I'm on panel into show and tell. Trev calls me Mr. Show and Tell sometime. I actually own this musical instrument.
What is that?
Maybe you'll recognize the symbol on here. Does this?
It's somewhat like a kazoo.
It's a flute. It's a flute from Zelda.
Yes, it's the Ocarina of Time, actually. And I'm trying to learn to play this thing because I'm a big video game fan. So this is the 12-hole ocarina, and it's just a flute. And you can play all kinds of songs. There's actually a girl on YouTube who plays ocarina very well, and she plays all the video game songs and some movie themes and stuff. I want to try to learn to play this thing. I've never had any interest in playing any musical instrument until I came across this, and I got this on I don't know, I don't remember, Wish or something, or Amazon. Don't really remember.
Sweet.
Yeah, so yeah, those things are awesome. I'm actually not musical at all, but that's one thing I just want to try, just because it's a video game icon relic thing. So yeah,
I would love
Sir.
to play the original Zelda game. Now I've got a craving for it.
the old
I'll
8-bit
download it.
original Zelda. Well, the Nintendo 64 version, Ocarina of Time, is in my opinion still the best Zelda, but the most recent one on Nintendo Switch, Breath of the Wild, was awesome. I play it here in my living room, and I've never used the Switch handheld. I've always had it in the stand because I don't have a television here. I have a projector or a beamer, so
Yeah.
my screen is 110 inch.
Oh,
So Link is basically this big. It's awesome to play on that. And I own just about all video game consoles. Nerd of the North had a nerdgasm when I showed him.
You have an Atari?
Yes.
I remember the old
That's
Atari
right.
2600.
Yes, I still have it.
Yeah.
I have two versions of that. I've got the remake with the I think it had like an aluminium plating on it or metallic look, but the original one had actually a wooden look to it, and I specifically got the wooden look as well. This is an old picture. I still had my television here. I have some game consoles.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I guess you do.
Yeah, the
Great.
television has been replaced by a
my
110 inch by now. This is a 42 inch, I think it was, but that has been replaced
With the projection TV.
with a projector that's on the
Nice.
other side of the room and projects on the wall. My wall is now completely white and smooth, and I actually want to try to get some specific beamer paint or that is white, crystal white paint, and it has like glass powder in it, which reflects the light even better. So you don't have
Right.
to put up a screen. If you just have a section of your wall that you paint completely white, you get more reflection out of it. And if your beamer is like 2000 lumen or what's that called,
You were right. Yeah, lumen.
you basically get like a 250 extra lumen just from the paint or something like that.
I was going to ask, like, did you have a hard time finding the perfect projector for your area?
No, it was actually quite easy. I worked at Acer at the time, and they sometimes have internal sales of stuff that was repaired, and that beamer was in the pile, and I quickly looked that up, and it was a beamer that was still being sold for like 850 euros at the time, which would be the same in dollars, $850, for instance.
Yeah.
But they sold it internally for 350, so a 500 discount. I thought, get me that. So I said, and I was apparently the only one who was going for that beamer because it was one of the more expensive pieces. Everyone was going for the 100 euro laptops and 200 euro stuff, and the tablets were just a thing back then. And it's just a full HD beamer, and I've been using it for years now, and it's awesome. I play all my video games on that. PlayStation 4 Full HD, PlayStation
Nice.
4 Pro, super awesome. Yeah.
I've always wanted I thought about getting a projection. I had a 60-inch before. I upgraded to a 65-inch because I had to replace their old projection high-def TV that I had. I wanted to mount it on the wall, but I wasn't able to. The next one I get is going to be 80 inches or more.
Yeah.
Or it's probably going to be one of them, the ones you literally can mount on the wall. They're just like paper thin.
Yeah. Those OLED things.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are awesome. Well, the disadvantage of the beamer is, I got it so cheap that I didn't have to spend like 5,000 euros on a huge television that I was looking at back then. This is the cheapest option for the biggest screen, basically. But because I live in a building, I live on the 6th floor, which is the top floor, but I am in between two other buildings. And once the sun is on this side, even though if I have the curtains closed, there's so much light coming in that I basically have to stop playing video games for an hour because I can't see anything.
It washes it out. Yeah.
Yeah. And when the sun is behind the other building over there, then I'm good and I can turn the thing back on. And I don't watch television. I haven't watched regular television in I think 10 years. I don't think I have had my set-top box connected for at least 4 years. And my internet...
You don't do Netflix or anything like that?
No, I borrow everything off the internet. I've borrowed Endgame last week, and just watched it there with my big-ass speakers and all my big screens. Yeah. And when playing video games or watching a movie, it's just like drool, drool, drool.
You love the cinema sound, don't you? You love being in the movie, feeling like you're in the movie, in the game.
Yeah, my neighbors don't like it so much, especially when it gets late. But yeah, it's yeah, it's awesome. And regular television isn't interesting over here anymore. But I've heard that in many places, and then just about everyone is going to Netflix. And what's the other thing called? Hulu.
Streaming services in general.
Streaming services
everybody's
in
switching
general,
to
yeah.
them. Yeah, I mean, cable companies, satellite companies are starting to become obsolete.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they charge too dang much.
I remember when I was looking for a new television, and that was my last tube television that I bought. And it was one of those wide screens with it was a flat screen, but it was still a tube television. And the thing weighed a ton and was like, back then we still had guilders. That was before the euro. And that was basically, I think, 2,000 guilders, which would be about €1,000 back then, compared, kind of. And then I was talking to one of the salespeople there, and he said, "Oh, there's going to be television soon. They're only going to be this flat." And he was like this, like 15 centimeters, like what 10, 11, 12 inches thick. I was like, "No, that can't be. Televisions can't be that flat. Where are they going to put the tube?" "No, they're going to be like computers. They're going to be like LCD. Oh, that'll take like 50 more years before those are here." Yeah. And recently I talked to a guy as well. I think that was like 3 years ago at a job. He said, looking up programs that come on television tonight or tomorrow, that's a thing of the past. Nobody's going to be doing that anymore in 5 years. Everyone will click on something that they want to see wherever they want, whenever they want, either on their device or on their television. Programs will not be sent out normally anymore.
No.
You just go to your digital warehouse and click on your TV show that you want or your movie.
Yep.
And regular television is going to die off within probably 10 to 20 years, probably maybe even sooner. And that's where it's going. And the same for video games. You don't actually buy the physical game anymore. You just go to something like Steam, and then you go, "I want this in my library," and you pay $2 for your video game. And then, you want the next chapter? Pay another $2. You want the next chapter? Pay another $2. Stuff like that. Yeah, That's where the whole thing is going.
Big Boons, I'm sorry to hear you got stung, man. That sucks.
Big Boons. A wasp. Oh, those can be nasty. Bees are already nasty, but wasps are even more nasty. And if you don't notice in time, they might sting you several times. I once had 3 on my arm. I looked like Popeye, thin arm, thick arm.
Mm-hmm.
It was insane. I'm slightly allergic, so the people were kind of people were getting worried.
I think as we get older, we all get allergic to them because our bodies, our immune system starts slowing down a little bit. Because I never used to be allergic to them, and now my doctor said, "You keep getting stung, you're going to eventually need to get the shot." Like, nope.
Is there a shot for BS? Because the older you get, I think the less tolerant you are of BS.
No, unfortunately, no.
A friend of mine said, if I was a superhero, I would be BS man. What do you mean? Whenever BS was being told somewhere, I would pop up and go, BS! and then I made a comment, well, then you will be trapped forever and won't be able to go anywhere. What do you mean? You will be stuck in churches for the rest of your life.
Man. PETA Man. You know what PETA stands for, right, Ralph?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. Want to make sure the joke wasn't lost on you.
No, I get many of the overseas references by now. I've been raised on U.S. television since I was a kid, I think. With the old cartoons like the first generation of Transformers, G.I. Joe, Inspector Gadget, Heathcliff.
Are you how, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you, Ralph?
How old do you think?
I think you're right around the same age as me. Are you in your early 40s?
I will be 41 in October.
Okay. So you're not that much younger than I am. I'm 44. I'll be 45.
I actually thought you were younger than me.
Well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. But we grew up in the same era. That is totally awesome. We watched the same cartoons. If I'm not mistaken, that shirt you're wearing, is that like a Thundercat shirt?
No, it kind of looks like it. This is from World of Warcraft. This has some sword art from in the game. This isn't an official thing. It's just made. This is the logo for the warrior in World of Warcraft, which is my main character because I like big weapons and melee combat. I'm not a ranged pussy from far off with the bow.
Well, if you look at it real quick, it looks like the Eye of Thundera.
Yeah, kind of. I've been thinking of trying to make or get the sword of Thundera from Thundercats. I might try to do a metal casting.
Forget getting it. Make it.
Yeah, I've seen a LumiTube, I think, make it. Or one of the other metal casters that I follow. And sometimes this is quite annoying because I'm kind of a beginner at this whole stuff. I have an idea. I think I'm going to make something from this old cartoon, and then a LumiTube comes up with it within a month, and then I don't feel like making it anymore because people are going, "Oh, you're just copying a LumiTube." Yeah. But then again, I'm so small time. People probably won't notice.
Nah, when you do it though, you'll end up doing it better.
No, maybe no, probably not. If I look at other people who are into like blacksmithing and metal casting and just arts and crafts and have a workshop, this is an apartment. When I have to do my work, I go to my mother's place, which is 2 streets down. She has a garage and a garden and a shed, and I do all the stuff. All the videos I have are all filmed there, except for the ingot shelves, which are over here. But sometimes it's annoying to every time take my phone, take my tripod, take my cables, go over there. If I have a lot of stuff to take, I have to take the car for only 2 streets, and then set everything up. And my mom is home, and then she's like, "Oh, I need to get groceries." She has to come through all of the stuff I've just set up, and I was filming. I have to wait again. Sometimes the neighbors play music while they're in the garden, and this is, by the way, a good test. If you are filming somewhere and you're afraid of getting copyright claims, use an app like Shazam or SoundHound to see if your telephone identifies the music. And if it doesn't, then the chances are that the YouTube algorithm will also not catch it because it's the same type of software. If the music volume is too low and you can only vaguely hear like a bass, it usually doesn't pick up. That's what I found out. And if you have a certain part of a clip in your video, you can lower the volume of that clip to put it in the background. That also works. I found out, at least for Shazam and SoundHound apps. And I've heard that the YouTube algorithm that identifies the music works in the same kind of way. So,
Eileen, I hate to do it to you, hon, but I gotta go.
Yeah, I'm keeping. I tend to take over live streams and turn it into show and tell.
Fine. I promised her an hour, and I wanted to spend a little extra time with you, of course, and her after the interview. But I'm starting to get heavy eyed, and I want to grab something to eat and watch a little bit of TV with the family.
Yeah, you should. Time to relax is important.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Go relax. The interview was great. Thank you so much.
Well, the host was great too.
I'm going to rewatch the stream because I missed the beginning.
Okay, Ralph, and I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Bye. Remember to see with your heart and not your eyes.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for
See
coming.
you on the next one.
Eileen, take care. Much love to you, Ralph. Have a good
Bye,
night
Eileen.
or day. Is it day?
Bye.
No, your way.
Night. Whatever.
Night. Have a good night. Bye-bye.